All right, let's keep this thing moving and go over to our preview portion of the show. Let us begin with talking about PFL 2 this weekend, the second event in PFL's 2023 regular season. Friday, April 7th, back at the theater at Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to talk only about the main event, women's featherweight matchup between the defending champ, Larissa Pacheco, taking on Julia Budd. Before we do that, are there any other fights or fighters that you guys just want to quickly spotlight for our listeners and viewers?
I guess the big one that I would want to make sure people were to check out, that we're not going to go over, Aspen Ladd will be fighting on the prelims. She's headlining the prelim card for this PFL event. Hopefully she looks good in this one. I believe she won her last one, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Oh, to Julia Budd. There you go. That's right. So that's one to look out for. The other one, just because I'm really interested to see if there are any gains here, because he has been training with some monsters in John Jones and Walt. Why can't I remember this man?
Walt Harris.
Thank you. I was going to say Walter Jones, and I don't even know who Walter Jones is. So Maurice Green is the other one that I would say maybe be on the lookout for. He wasn't the sort of the big name in the UFC, or even somebody to really keep a close eye out for. He wasn't really super great. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. Definitely had a personality, a great story behind him, especially the whole crocheting business here. But Maurice has been training with some real killers lately. And so I'm really interested to see if there's been any change or any gains to his abilities. If not, then that's how it goes. But I'm interested. I think it'll be fun to see.
It's funny because I thought you were going to say the other dude who trains with them, who was also on this card, which is Jorgen De Castro.
Yes.
Training partners on the card together. Jorgen De Castro is getting a pretty tough matchup against Denise Goltsov, so we will see how that one goes. And the other one I'll point out is the co-main on this card, which is Bruno Capoloza getting his shot at revenge against Matus Scheffel, the surprising victor last time they fought, when Capoloza was maybe coasting, knowing he was ready in the playoffs, so he gets to try to get this one back here.
Okay, let's talk about this main event in the women's featherweight division. Larissa Pacheco, who caused an upset in the 2022 finals by defeating the two-time PFL women's lightweight champion, Kayla Harrison. And she's going to be taking on the former Bellator champion, Julia Budd. So Pacheco, 19-4 as a pro, almost all finishes. Only 2 of her 19 wins went the distance to the scorecards. 9 knockouts, 8 submissions. She will be riding a 6-fight winning streak in the PFL coming into this Friday night. Let's see. Starting off her season, Julia Budd, the Jewel, the 39-year-old out of British Columbia, Canada, 16-5 as a pro, 6 knockouts, 1 sub, 9 wins by decision. She's looking to get back in the win column in the PFL, having dropped her last 2 fights to Jenna Fabian and Aspen Ladd. Omar, let me start with you. Give me your take and ultimately your pick for Larissa Pacheco taking on Julia Budd.
Well, Larissa Pacheco is 28 years old, so that means that she's going to win. I think that's just how that works. No. Larissa Pacheco. This is a very interesting matchup, right? Because Larissa Pacheco had just finished beating Kayla Harrison, who has, most recently been revered as, kind of the next cyborg in that sense, right? The next undefeated woman, the next dominant woman of the MMA world. And Kayla Harrison is still very good, and I would still probably pick her in 99% of the fights that she's in for the most part. But Larissa Pacheco won that last fight, and I think she won it fair and square. I don't really think there was any controversy behind it. And this was against a woman who was very good at getting people down to the ground, controlling them on the ground, submitting people on the ground. So Pacheco's game had to adjust for Kayla Harrison's approach. Julia Budd, on the other hand, is a kickboxer. And while I understand that she knows of the ground and plays with it and things like that, her game is not the ground. And against a kickboxer with Larissa Pacheco, I'm going Larissa Pacheco all day. I think the girl has heavy hands, and I think she can do some real damage. I trust her skill in there. Julia Budd is very crafty. She's been in the kickboxing game a long time, has had legitimate kickboxing-only fights, apart from her MMA career. So she's seasoned, for sure. But Larissa Pacheco, I think, is riding a nice little wave of confidence. I think her skills do bring real issues, and like I said before, the girl hits hard. So I think she's going to bring a real issue to Julia Budd, and I think she's going to win this fight unanimous decision.
Mark, give us your take and your pick. Pacheco versus Budd.
All right. The odds are pretty wide. Larissa Pacheco is minus 700. Julia
That's
Budd
crazy.
is plus 475.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm not super shocked, honestly. I feel like, but I know she just had a close fight with Aspen Ladd. I just feel like lately I don't love what I'm seeing from her. This is a solid main event. It's definitely an interesting challenge for Pacheco. I just don't think Budd has enough to offer at this stage of her career. Like, she's still strong as all hell. She showed that against Ladd. She could maybe create some time in the clinch that she's able to win. She does have solid takedown D. But I just don't see where she's truly going to have an advantage in this fight. Like, Pacheco is likely just as strong as her. We saw the way that she stood up to Kayla, who's a beast. Yeah. Her grappling is top-notch. As much as Budd has solid kickboxing technique, I think Pacheco's the more dynamic striker. I think she's the more dangerous striker, more dangerous finisher. And she's in her prime, her absolute prime. And Julia Budd is not. So I'm not shocked by these odds. I am obviously going Pacheco myself. I will say it is a UD. It's only a 3-round fight, so I'll say Budd makes it to the bell, but I will go Larissa Pacheco.
Yeah, Budd is one tough customer, but I totally agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think Pacheco definitely is in her prime. She got the monkey off her back, defeating Kayla Harrison at the end of last season, and now she's taking on the featherweight tournament. And I think she's going to get it done over Julia Budd. I will say that she will get Budd out of there and give Julia Budd her third TKO loss. I'll say third round.